Hey guys, what's up? It's me Vendrus and welcome to another Diablo 3 video. Now this time I will be showing you guys how to go from level 1 to 70 as monk as fast as possible. I will be showing you my builds and my tactics in order to do this as fast as possible. Now before we start, I just want to say that I'll be trying to make this video as noob friendly as possible, so hopefully everyone will be able to understand it. Now, before I go into the builds, there are two things you need to know. First thing is crucial. You need to go to options and to gameplay, and there's a mode where there's an option called elective mode, and this enables you to put each spell, every spell you want, on every place. For example, you can have this wave of light on 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever, and also you can have several spells from the same group all available at once, so you definitely need to have this available. Now the other thing you need to know is that the monk is generally a tank, but if you want to go from level 1 to 70 as fast as possible, you need to build a lot of damage. So what I did was I had the most damage as possible and had enough resistances and health to sustain this damage and to not randomly die. So if I click on the items, you should generally try to have the most dexterity as possible, as this increases your damage by 8%. And also the vitality and the resistances are the ones you'll need to actually sustain and survive. Now I know my character is a bit low, but I got level 70 pretty recently, so yeah, and also that's not the point of the video. So now you'll need one build for level 1 to 50, which will be crucial. Now it revolves around this spell called Exploding Palm. Now this is the spell, and another thing you need to know if you're a new player is that, for example, here you can see the enemy will explode if killed while bleeding. It probably seems not that impressive, but if you hold the control button, you will see the exact percentage that they deal. And now you can see that they explode for 2770% of your weapon damage, which is absolutely phenomenal. Now the percent of weapon damages, if you go to your weapon, you will see that it has some damage, so this damage multiplied by the percent is the damage that the spell will deal. So obviously before you unlock Exploding Palm, you will need to survive and use every spell you need in order to go and to do enough damage and to also survive. So you will need spells like Breath of Heaven or Blinding Flash in order to survive, obviously. So now let's say you already have unlocked where is it? Exploding Palm. Now every spell you have must revolve around this. Now there are three things which will be crucial for your build, and this will be obviously Exploding Palm. I use the rune which deals the most damage as possible, which later on is Impending Doom, because if you hold down control, as you saw, it dealt 2700% damage. But this, it doesn't bleed, but when you kill the enemy, it deals 6300% weapon damage, which is lethal to almost every unit. It can also kill a blue or a gold monster right away. So first use Exploding Palm. The tactic which you must know to how to use Exploding Palm is you use it on the unit with the lowest HP and the one which can die the easiest. And also it will be good if it's a melee, so it has some other units around it. So you use it on the weak enemy, you kill it, and it kills everything around it, because obviously it explodes. So the second thing which you will need in order to sustain this build is Cyclone Strike, and the Dream Rune is Implosion, because it increases the range from a area around you to almost the whole screen. So the idea for now is you use Exploding Palm on a weak enemy, you use Cyclone Strike, and you pull everything close to it right when you're able to kill it. So you use Exploding Palm, you damage it, you use Cyclone Strike, and you last hit it and explodes, and it basically kills everything. The other thing you will be needing is Dashing Strike. This is the spell, and the rune which you'll probably be using is Quicksilver, as it has most charges and you really don't need the damage that much. Other spells which are good for this build is Sweeping Wind. Master of Wind, I'd say, is the best for you because it freezes the monsters when you have the 3 stacks of the Vortex. And the other thing which I found pretty useful was the spell called Serenity, especially with Unwelcome Disturbance, as it lets you become immune and then explodes 3 times, dealing damage. So when you use Cyclone Strike, in order for the monsters to not kill you, you can use this spell to block all damage to become immune, and also use the damage to detonate your Exploding Palm. So for passives, I used Exalted Soul, and the other which will be pretty useful is Seize the Initiative for a bit more damage, and probably Determination, which is here, to even more increase your damage. Now this build will generally be useful for level 1 to 50. Now the other thing I used for 50 to 60 approximately was a fire build, because Exploding Palm got a bit hard to pull off, so I used a AoE heavy build, which was revolving around mainly 3 or 4 spells. Now one of them is Wave of Light with the explosive light spell rune, excuse me. Now this deals massive AoE damage, so the Wave of Light goes to all directions and manages to do some pretty nice damage. As you can see, 830 weapon damage to everything around you. Now this will be the most damage, the spell with the most damage you'll be using. Other good spell is Sweeping Wind with the Firestorm rune. Now it increases the radius, so you have some pretty nice AoE damage all around you in a pretty big area to sustain your DPS. Another thing which you'll be needing is again Cyclone Strike. Let me just find it. And I'd recommend to use Implosion again, because it's generally the most useful thing, as you will use the spell to pull enemies towards you, not to deal damage. Another thing which you might find pretty useful for this build is Mystic Ally, Fire Ally, because it increases your damage furthermore, and the active deals some pretty nice damage to nuke down the stronger units. Now for passives, you use basically the same, which let you do the most damage as possible. Obviously, if you need a bit more survivability, you can use a mantra or a passive skill which will grant you a bit more defense, or you should itemize around this so the damage comes from your spells and the defense comes from your items. You can experiment and do stuff like that. Now for level 60 to 70 is when things get a bit more serious, as you'll need to survive actually. Now the damage you deal is pretty nice thanks to Wave of Light again, but the thing you'll need the most and to focus the most is survivability in order to kill pretty much every boss without a problem. So this time I'll be showing you each things a bit better, because it's pretty crucial in order to survive to know each thing and how to use it. Now for my generator, which is the auto attack, it's called a spirit generator because, as you can see, it generates 12 spirit per attack. Spirit, if you don't know, is this wrath globe which is used to spend you spend it to cast your spells, obviously. So you use Way of the 100 Fists with the Assimilation rune to have more damage by each hit. Now the second spell is one of the most important and the one which will actually let you kill your enemies. It will be Wave of Light with the last rune, which is called Pillar of the Ancients. As if you hold control, you will see that it doesn't deal that much damage at first sight, 635% weapon damage, but after that it does almost 800% weapon damage as lightning for 3 seconds. So it just becomes the strongest wave of lightning. Now it's not as AoE as the explosive light rune, but it deals the most damage, and that's what you need. Now your sweeping wind, of course, but this time you'll use the rune called Inner Storm, which lets you generate more spirit when you have more charges of the vortex. Now there's not much to talk about this, other than that make sure you keep that up at 3 stacks most of the time. Now for Dashing Strike, this time you should use Radiance, which is the fire rune, and increases your attack speed after using Dashing Strike. Now obviously you can use that to evade stuff, but also it will help you generate the rune of Wave the 100 Fist and generate a bit more spirit to spam your Wave of Light even more. Now another spell, which is probably the other most important spell, is Epiphany. It is an active spell which gives you a ton of spirit regeneration and lets you spam all your spells super free, and also your melee attacks dash to the target, which is pretty neat. Not that game changing, but it's kinda useful. But the other thing is the rune Desert Shroud, which infuses you with sound, reduces the damage taken by 50%, so you basically become immune at that time. Also you become immune because of the mantra you'll be using, which is Mantra of Salvation. Also the rune Perseverance, so it grants you even more percent resistances. As you can see, 40% increase resistance to all enemies, and if you need the active, if you're attacking an elite or something like that, you use the active to become even more immune. Now for the passes, I use Beacon of Ether, so I have Epiphany and Dashing Strike a bit more often. Now Sixth Sense and Harmony are pretty useful and pretty crucial for you in order to survive. It reduces the non-physical damage taken by 25%, Sixth Sense, and Harmony 40% of your single elemental resistances from items have become resistances to all elements, which is absolutely amazing. And the fourth thing I use is Exalted Soul, so I have some more spirit regeneration and spirit itself, so I can spam the Wave of Light as I please. Now at this time you should consider Vitality and defenses to all enemies, all elements, pretty useful in order to survive. Now for the game tactic, let's just leave the game and show you, as I made a new champion, as a new character. Now for example, if you have bought the game just now or something like that, you should let's just collect it. You will obviously play on the campaign. Now one thing I forgot is to change the game settings. I will suggest you to go for Master right away. If it is the first time you played the game, you should obviously try with normal and make the difficulties a bit higher as you feel confident. But if you have the strength, if you have the knowledge, you should go for Master right away. Now I should leave now to make it Master and to show you what the differences between the different difficulties. Now I played Master non-stop, obviously from level 1 to 70, as it gives you most XP before Torment. Now let's go to game settings and go to difficulties. Now you start with normal, which is the baseline Diablo 3 experience. As it said, it doesn't give you extra gold or extra XP. Now you can go to hard, which is pretty useless actually, 75% bonus XP. Actually, I guess it's okay if you can't go any higher, but then you go 100 extra bonus XP and gold, which is obviously not that good. Bounty Sword, double blood shots, you don't care about that for now. Now, Master is the one I played and the one you need. It gives you 2 times extra, but actually it gives you 200% extra golden XP, and the other things are not that important for you. It lets you grind through the levels much faster, and obviously the game doesn't really get that much harder. You just need to have enough defense to survive and to build the damage so you can kill everything. Now, I really suggest you try from normal to master. Don't rush master right away, but try to go to master as fast as possible. Also, if let's say you have completed all the acts, go to adventure mode. It is the one which will give you most XP as fast as possible, because on the acts you need to go to walk a bit, obviously because of the quests, and in adventure is just killing non-stop. And I should suggest you do only the bounties, and probably do the bounties only on act 1 and 5, so you can have on act 1 to be the easiest, so you can make most bounties as fast as possible, so you gain more XP as fast as possible, and act 5 so you have better chance at some items and some gems. Now you will drop the rift. What was the item? It drops you an item which lets you go to Nephilim rifts. You should probably save this for when you go to level 70, and after that it's a different story. I won't be talking about that. So if you're using that, and if you're using the builds and the things I taught you right now, I think you can go from level 1 to 70 in 2 or max 3 days if you obviously play a lot. Now it won't need too much hours, and I think it will be pretty easy and pretty fun. Now obviously before you reach the dream goals of these builds, you should use other spells which you find useful, and also you can change the builds to match your game style, to match your play style. I will post the builds right down below in the description or the comments. I'll see how it goes, and if you have any questions you can comment down and I will answer as fast as possible. You can trust me on that. So I hope that was useful for you guys. Thank you for watching, and if you like that video, please give me a like. And if you want to see more, for example how to go from level 1 to 70 as different classes, or what to do from level 70 on, you should subscribe. Or if you want to see any other games, I do League of Legends, StarCraft, and some random games when I am in the mood for them. So thank you guys for watching, and bye bye.